Picture this. It's a sweltering night in 1954, deep in the shimmering, heat-baked desert of Palm Springs, a town built on sunshine and Hollywood money. The air outside is thick with the scent of night-blooming jasmine and the distant hum of a new prosperous America. Inside a house that is the very definition of cool, modern glamour, the atmosphere is anything but. Frank Sinatra, his famous blue eyes blazing with a potent cocktail of rage and heartbreak, hurls a champagne bottle across the master bathroom of his meticulously designed home. It smashes against the pristine white sink, the sound of shattering glass echoing the shattering of a love affair. The bottle leaves a jagged crack in the porcelain, a scar that, by Sinatra's own decree, would never be repaired. That scar wasn't just careless damage in a fit of passion. It was an indelible mark on a multi-million-dollar asset. It was a moment when raw emotion collided with hard property, forever embedding a story into the very fabric of a key piece in a rapidly growing real estate portfolio. This act, in its own way, tells the whole story of Sinatra's relationship with his homes. They were sanctuaries, yes, but they were also stages, statements, and, above all, investments. What drove a man who commanded stages worldwide to permanently alter a fixture in his own carefully curated property? And what do the financial blueprints, the land deeds, and the market valuations of his hidden homes reveal about the strategic empire-building mind that always churned just beneath the swagger? This isn't just a story about beautiful houses. It's a deep dive into the portfolio of a magnate. It's about assets, equity, and the strategic acquisition of property as a tangible measure of power. It's about how real estate becomes both a fortress against the world and a testament to one's financial dominance within it. Frank Sinatra wasn't born to luxury. He was a product of Hoboken, New Jersey's gritty working-class streets, a skinny kid who fought his way up with little more than his fists, and a voice that would one day be insured by Lloyd's of London for millions of dollars. His journey from rags to riches is the American dream writ large, but the story often glosses over the financial acumen. It wasn't just about record sales and movie contracts. It was about the intelligent conversion of that massive income stream into hard, tangible assets. As his fame exploded in the post-war boom, Sinatra began a lifelong obsession with real estate, not merely as a place to live, but as a primary tool to project power, secure unprecedented privacy, and build an unshakable empire. His choices were never random splurges of a frivolous star. They were calculated, often brilliant, moves on a high-stakes chessboard. The desert called to him, and he answered by acquiring prime real estate in Palm Springs, then a burgeoning playground for America's new class of millionaires. Los Angeles was the heart of the entertainment industry, so he secured a strategic hilltop command post to oversee his operations. And when the world he had conquered became too much to bear, he marshaled his vast resources to build a self-sufficient mountain fortress from the ground up, a kingdom unto himself. These weren't just houses, they were tangible pillars of his formidable estate, extensions of a man who understood, perhaps better than anyone, that in America wealth isn't just what you earn, it's what you own. So let's begin our portfolio tour at the foundational asset. This is the property that announced Frank Sinatra's arrival, not just as a top-tier entertainer, but as a man of significant and growing wealth. This is the investment that set the tone for a lifetime of high-end real estate acquisition. Let's step through the gates of his first desert jewel, Twin Palms. The year was 1947. The Second World War was over and America was flexing its economic muscle. A torrent of new money was flooding the economy, and Frank Sinatra was riding the crest of that wave. His Bobby Soxer fame had translated into a massive recording contract with Columbia Records and a lucrative movie deal with MGM. With his first $1 million in income secured, a monumental sum for the era, equivalent to nearly $14 million today, he set his sights on Palm Springs. This wasn't just a sleepy desert town. It was rapidly becoming the preferred sanctuary for Hollywood's elite. It was a place to see and be seen, and more importantly, a place to invest. Sinatra, still in his early 30s, walked into the Palm Springs office of a young visionary architect named E. Stewart Williams. Initially, Sinatra's vision was rooted in the past. He requested a grand 2-story Georgian-style mansion, complete with white columns and red brick, a classic symbol of East Coast old money establishment. He wanted to project an image of respectability, to build a house that looked like it had been there for generations. But Williams, a key figure in the burgeoning school of desert modernism, saw a different future for Sinatra. He saw a man who was the epitome of the new, modern America, dynamic, informal, and forward-looking. To build a stuffy, historical imitation in the middle of the starkly beautiful desert seemed absurd. Williams famously convinced Sinatra to let him sketch 2 designs, the Georgian mansion he asked for and the house the architect knew he should have. In a single feverish night of creation, Williams drafted a revolutionary alternative, a long, low-slung, single-story sprawl of glass, steel, and native stone that seemed to grow organically from the desert floor, blurring the lines between the rugged landscape and the luxurious interior. Sinatra, a man with an innate, almost infallible sense of style, instantly recognized the genius of the modern design. He scrapped the old-world fantasy and embraced the future. He committed a then staggering $150,000, the equivalent of over $2 million in today's currency, to bring the vision to life. This was his first major capital investment in bespoke real estate, a bold declaration of his arrival and his sophisticated taste. The property at 1148 East Alejo Road, situated on a prime corner lot in the highly desirable Movie Colony neighborhood, was officially on the map. It was more than a home. It was a blue-chip asset in the making. Let's analyze the specifications from an investment perspective. The property is a 4,500 square foot structure boasting 4 bedrooms and 7 bathrooms, a ratio indicating its design for large-scale entertaining. The architectural provenance being a custom commission from a now legendary architect like E. Stewart Williams immediately gave the property an impeccable pedigree that would only be appreciated over time. The materials themselves were a statement of quality: native stone walls, warm redwood accents, and vast expanses of thermopane glass, a new and expensive technology at the time. The house was also equipped with central air conditioning, a massive luxury and a huge selling point in the brutal desert climate. Sinatra further enhanced the asset's value by customizing it for his work. He had a professional-grade sound system wired throughout the entire house and grounds, with speakers hidden in the rock formations by the pool. He also installed state-of-the-art recording equipment, effectively creating a home studio where he could work on his music, a rarity that blended his personal life with his income-generating profession. Every detail seen through a financial lens was a value add. The iconic piano-shaped swimming pool became a world-famous feature, a unique brand identifier for the property. His ritual of raising a Jack Daniels flag to signal the start of happy hour was more than a quirky tradition. It was brilliant marketing, turning his home into a landmark destination for neighbors like Cary Grant, Bob Hope, and Bing Crosby. Their presence, in turn, only increased the property's social cachet and, by extension, its long-term financial value. But the home's most unique and perhaps most valuable feature was born from turmoil. The explosive relationship with Ava Gardner played out within these glass walls. Their legendary fights became neighborhood lore. The infamous argument that resulted in the cracked sink is the pinnacle of this history. While any normal property owner would immediately repair such damage to protect their investment's value, Sinatra made a shrewd, if emotional, decision. He left it. Today, that crack is priceless. It's a tangible piece of Hollywood mythology, a story etched in porcelain that transforms the house from a beautiful piece of architecture into a historical artifact. It provides a level of provenance that a real estate appraiser could never quantify, but that a potential buyer would pay a premium for. Decades later, the wisdom of Sinatra's initial investment is undeniable. Twin Palms has been sold multiple times, each time for millions of dollars. Today it operates as one of the most exclusive venues in Palm Springs, commanding top dollar for corporate events, high-fashion photo shoots, and luxury vacation rentals. Its current market value is estimated to be well over $5 million. This represents a more than 30-fold return on his initial capital outlay, a staggering success for his first foray into high-end real estate. Twin Palms wasn't just a party house. It was the bedrock upon which the Sinatra real estate empire was built. By the mid-1950s, Sinatra the artist had fully transformed into Sinatra the corporation. His career, spectacularly resurrected by an Academy Award for his dramatic role in From Here to Eternity, was now a diversified and powerful enterprise. He had left Columbia and signed a new landmark deal with Capitol Records that gave him unprecedented creative control. He founded his own successful film production company, Kent Productions. The Rat Pack was taking shape, becoming a dominant force in Las Vegas and on screen. For this new phase of his life as a mogul, he needed a different kind of real estate asset, not a desert escape for leisure, but a strategic base of operations near the heart of the industry. Enter Byrdview, a magnificent hilltop estate in the then remote Los Angeles suburb of Chatsworth, which he leased for nearly a decade. This was a calculated financial maneuver. Instead of tying up millions in capital in another outright purchase, Sinatra opted to lease, a common strategy for corporations needing operational flexibility without the burdens of ownership. This allowed him to control a world-class property while keeping his capital liquid for other investments in his record label, in film production, or in the stock market. Byrdview was a strategic expense, not an equity-building asset. The property itself, designed by the acclaimed architect William Pereira for banking heiress Dora Hutchinson, was an exercise in sheer scale and exclusivity. The main residence was a staggering 6,661 square feet, accompanied by a separate, fully equipped 1,000-square-foot guest house. The compound featured a 16-car garage to house his growing collection of luxury automobiles, all situated on acres of intensely private, gated land. From its perch, the estate offered a 360-degree view of the San Fernando Valley, a literal and metaphorical position of looking down upon the world. While he didn't hold the deed, Sinatra controlled the asset as if it were his own. In a savvy business move, he frequently sublet the luxurious guest house to friends and associates, including Marilyn Monroe, effectively having his guests subsidize his own lease payments. The main house became his West Coast war room. From this command center, he managed his burgeoning empire. Therefore, the financial value of Byrdview wasn't in its potential appreciation. It was in its immense utility as a power brokering hub. This is where the Rat Pack planned their legendary Sands Hotel engagements in Las Vegas. This is where deals worth tens of millions of dollars in today's money were struck over clinking glasses of whiskey and clouds of cigar smoke. And most importantly, this is where Sinatra cultivated and leveraged his formidable political connections. The alleged clandestine meetings with then-Senator John F. Kennedy that took place here were an investment in influence, a currency that, for a man like Sinatra, was often more valuable than cash. The intense privacy and security of the estate made it the perfect off-the-books location for such high-stakes networking, far from the prying eyes of the press and J. Edgar Hoover's FBI. Even the tragedies associated with the home add to its legend and, perversely, its value. Being the site of Marilyn Monroe's final photo shoot with photographer Lawrence Schiller just weeks before her death adds a layer of poignant, irreplaceable history. The persistent rumors of secret tunnels connecting her guest house to the main residence only enhance the property's mystique. For nearly a decade, Byrdview was the ultimate power asset, a place that facilitated the deals that funded the rest of his lavish lifestyle and his more permanent investments. The property itself has remained a prime piece of Southern California real estate. Though Sinatra never owned it, the estate was recently on the market with an asking price of $21.5 million. A stunning testament to the enduring value of the world of extreme luxury he inhabited. Decades passed. As the turbulent 1960s drew to a close, Sinatra's priorities underwent another fundamental shift. Now in his 50s, he was an elder statesman of entertainment, a global icon with nothing left to prove. The Rat Pack era was fading, and a new weariness had set in. He sought something that even his vast fortune couldn't easily buy in a standard market transaction: absolute, unimpeachable privacy. For this, he would commission a new, entirely bespoke asset from the ground up, a property that would be his ultimate personal statement. This was Villa Maggio, his mountain fortress, perched at a breathtaking 4,200 feet above the desert floor in the remote, rustic community of Mountain Center. Named for Angelo Maggio, his Oscar-winning role, this project was the ultimate expression of personal wealth and the desire for control. Beginning in 1967, Sinatra strategically acquired 7.5 acres of secluded, rugged land, a significant holding, and hired the architect Ross Patton to build his vision. This was not about speculating on an up-and-coming neighborhood. This was about creating a self-sufficient kingdom, far from everything and everyone. Let's break down the immense capital investment required for such an undertaking. The construction itself was a massive logistical and financial challenge. All materials had to be transported up a long, winding private road. The compound itself consists of 3 distinct buildings: a 5-bedroom main house, a 3-bedroom guest house, and a separate pool house with its own 2 saunas, totaling approximately 6,400 square feet of highly customized living space. The interior boasts 9 fireplaces, a resort-style pool, a lighted tennis court, and a spacious outdoor dance floor. But the real long-term value of this asset lies in its infrastructure, into which Sinatra poured a fortune. Recognizing the vulnerability of a remote location, he invested in features that guaranteed total autonomy. He had his own powerful industrial-grade generators installed, ensuring he would never lose power. He drilled a private well, making him completely independent of the local water supply, and, most crucially for a man of his stature, he built a fully licensed helipad. This feature alone was a massive expense, requiring permits, environmental studies, and complex engineering, but it provided the ultimate luxury, the ability to arrive and depart in minutes without ever being seen, bypassing roads and photographers entirely. It made his fortress virtually impenetrable. This was Sinatra's crown jewel asset, a place meticulously designed to protect both his peace of mind and his physical privacy. The gatherings here were not the sprawling parties of Twin Palms. They were intimate, exclusive affairs for his inner circle. When he hosted powerful political figures like Vice President Spiro Agnew, or in a highly secretive meeting, President Richard Nixon, the value of Villa Maggio as a secure, off-the-grid location was proven beyond doubt. From a real estate perspective, Villa Maggio is a truly unique asset. Its remote location and highly personalized chalet-style architecture make it a niche property. However, for a certain type of high-net-worth individual seeking unparalleled privacy and a direct connection to a cultural icon, its features are priceless. The property has been on and off the market several times in the decades since his death, with asking prices fluctuating in the range of $3.9 million to $4.5 million. It represents a different kind of investment, not one made for broad market appeal or quick flipping, but a legacy asset. Its value is intrinsically tied to its legendary creator and the unparalleled seclusion he built for himself, a feature that is increasingly rare and valuable in the modern world. When you step back and look at these three distinct properties, not simply as homes, but as a cohesive real estate portfolio, a clear and remarkably sophisticated financial strategy emerges. This was not just a man buying houses he liked. This was a magnate diversifying his holdings and using real estate as a multifaceted tool to build and sustain his empire. Each property served a unique function in his overall financial life. First, Twin Palms was the foundational asset. It was his entry into the high-end luxury market, a significant capital investment in a prime, growing location that immediately established his brand as a man of wealth and taste. Its architectural significance and legendary history have allowed it to appreciate exponentially in value over the past 70 years. It was a tangible status symbol that also served as an income-generating studio and a marketing tool for the Sinatra brand. Second, Byrdview represented a different, more fluid financial tactic, the strategic lease. This was a multi-year high-expense rental that provided a mission-critical operational base in Los Angeles without tying up millions in capital. Its value was not in building equity, but in its utility. It was a business expense, likely providing significant tax advantages that facilitated the deals and connections that fueled his entire financial enterprise. It was the command center from which he managed his other, more permanent assets. Finally, Villa Maggio was the legacy asset, or the passion project. This was the ultimate personal luxury, a property built not for market speculation or resale value, but for personal fulfillment and absolute security. However, in creating this perfectly self-sufficient, ultra-private compound, he inadvertently engineered a highly desirable type of property for the world's elite. It is a one-of-a-kind trophy property, a tangible piece of his personal history that serves as the crown jewel of his estate. Together, these properties tell the financial story of a remarkable life. From his first $1 million investment in the nascent luxury market of Palm Springs, to his strategic power base in LA, to his multi-million-dollar custom-built mountain sanctuary, Frank Sinatra's real estate choices were as bold, complex, and savvy as the man himself. They were key pillars supporting a vast financial empire that included music, royalties, film production, television specials, Las Vegas residencies, and savvy investments across the globe. In the end, what do these properties, these hard assets, truly whisper about the legend of Frank Sinatra? They reveal that the artist was inseparable from the tycoon. His homes were not merely escapes from the pressures of his fame. They were the physical manifestation of his immense fortune, magnificent monuments to its scale and his ambition. The glamour that he so famously projected was used to mask a deep-seated loneliness, yes, but it was a glamour that was meticulously built and paid for by shrewd business acumen and a masterful strategy of asset acquisition. He left Twin Palms with its priceless cracked sink, a piece of lore that now adds to its appeal for high-paying renters. He left the legacy of power and intrigue at Byrdview, a property now marketed for a price that would have been unimaginable in his time. And he left his mountain fortress, Villa Maggio, as a legacy asset worth millions, a testament to what a vast fortune can build when privacy becomes the ultimate luxury. These walls, these pools, these private helipads are more than just architecture. They are a reminder that icons don't just build lives, they build estates. And the story of their fortunes, their power, and their inner worlds is forever etched in the stone, the steel, and the land deeds they leave behind.